Good afternoon. You're all very welcome to today's webinar, The Future of Client Advisory Services, CAS. You will see the Q&A button on the bottom of your screens, and as all attendees will remain on mute for the duration of the webinar, you're welcome to input your questions here and they will be answered at the end of the session. We will also be asking you to participate in some polls throughout the session, so we do ask for your contribution, please. We'll be recording this webinar and will provide you with a link via email after the event. I'm delighted to welcome one of your fellow members, Brenda Jordan. Brenda began her career as a CGMA MIP by establishing a successful management accounting practice. As her practice grew, she identified a need for greater efficiency within her operations, as her team still relied heavily on spreadsheets for data analysis. This realisation led Brenda on a journey to find suitable technology to automate the manual analysis of client data. When her search yielded no suitable solutions, she founded SOBI Analytics, Strategic Optimized Business Insights, in 2021. As the demand for client advisory services increased, so did SOBI Analytics. Brenda is enthusiastic about the advantages of AI and is preparing to launch a groundbreaking solution in early 2025. Her dream of increasing the survival rate of startups is gradually becoming a reality. So with this in mind, I'll leave you in Brenda's capable hands. Welcome, Brenda.
Okay, thank you for such a fantastic introduction, Jean. So yeah, that really has summarized my journey up to now. And yes, my passion for client advisory services has come directly from my own experience working with small to mid-sized businesses in the Irish market. And so let's, without further ado, let's jump in, because client advisory services, quite frankly, is probably something every single one of you is currently doing. In fact, I was doing it for 20 years, but it wasn't called CAS. And it's only over the last couple of years been given that I guess that name. And that's come very much from our friends across the pond in the States. They're finally recognizing what most of us CGMA accountants already know, is that getting real-time relevant advice and support to our clients is actually really where the value is. So before we kind of go in any further, I actually just want to explore a little bit what client advisory services is. And it is a kind of $1 million question, because different accountants from different disciplines across the accountancy sector have their own I guess description on this. So up to very recently, the CAS would have been very much in around, auditing advice, taxation advice, wealth management. But there has been a very significant change over the last couple of years in particular in the understanding of what exactly this is. And funny enough, it's actually more in tune with what I learned as a CGMA accountant many moons back in my days when I was actually studying and becoming an accountant and indeed practicing. So I guess the most popular definition between actual, if you like, true, what I call CAS accountants, is that it's a comprehensive suite of accounting, financial, and advisory services tailored to meet the day-to-day and routine needs of a business. So that actually really takes it from just compliance services right up to the operational services and automating as much of that as you possibly can by integrating people, processes, and technology. But it's really about getting to the insights that each of your clients needs in order to make the best decisions that they can. But here's the kicker: it's real time. It's actually getting as close to real time as you possibly can. So I think that the days of actually giving, hopefully they're over. The days of actually giving somebody a set of accounts every year or half yearly and allowing them to view data retrospectively and then try and advise on that are actually coming to an end. And a lot of this really it's driven by the market itself. It's driven by small to mid-sized businesses who, by the way, are very used to getting everything else that they need at the touch of a button on their mobile devices. Okay. And so a lot of them are now looking and saying, why can't I get insights into what's going on in my business? If not real time, then quicker than what I can do now. So this all means kind of harnessing the cutting edge technology and also indeed then leveraging data driven and analytics. And what that really is all about is supporting the growth advisor, the accountant, in actually helping them to make better decisions. That's really what it all is coming down to. So what I identify as being the perfect storm is the driving demand, first of all, from small to mid-sized businesses for these kind of operational and strategic insights and advice, and they want it right down at as I say, an operational level. But accountants are struggling. They're struggling big time. Because first of all, a lot of their traditional revenue has now been automated thanks to technology. So they have lost and are losing traditional revenue streams like bookkeeping and even month-end accounts and so on. And so that is a threat, but there's also an opportunity, which I'll go further onto that. But then we also see that accountants are typically, and I talk really mainly to the US. I'm not sure it's such a big problem here, but there's a declining workforce in the US that actually have those skills. And in actual fact, some that are actually operational for many years within accountancy in the accountancy sector in the States also don't have the skill, unless because an awful lot of them are CPA. And once more, I push back and say it's the SEMA skills that we, were trained to use, is most definitely giving an edge, I think, in this market. So one thing I've also been very aware of over the last couple of years, AICPA and SEMA, of which obviously we're all members, are embracing this opportunity, and they're also recognizing the threat and they're recognizing the struggles, and they are very strongly encouraging their members to embrace the opportunity. Okay, so there is technology available to both streamline that process and also to support accountants in actually making that transition from being, I guess, bookkeepers and accounts keepers to actually being valued strategic advisors. Okay, and that might sound like a grand leap from one to the other, but being a strategic advisor is simply, as I'm sure a lot of you are well aware, just being there and understanding what's going on in your client's business and having enough information at your fingertips to actually be able to give them, data-driven decision support. That's really what I'm seeing. So the first polling question is, what level of advisory services? So sorry, I'm just so we're putting up the poll there.
Sorry, we put up the poll there now, Brenda, for you. And
Thank
Mary, we also have Mary Hayden here, who's currently the SEMA Southern Branch Chair.
Sorry, I forgot to introduce you.
Not at all. Kindly agreed to contribute during the Brenda's presentation, and also will facilitate the Q&A at the end as well. So Mary, obviously you're more than welcome to jump in here if you want to provide your feedback. Thanks. So I'll just wait until I see if I've got everybody's participation or a majority participation. I'll provide the stats then at the end for you, Brenda.
Great, thank you.
Just give everybody just another minute or a couple of seconds or so just to participate if they wish. Okay, so this is your result for your first one. Are you, Brenda?
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so let's just move on then to the next. So I just wanted to refer here to the model for moving up the advisory value chain. And this is very, very much the model that is being followed by the AICPA and CMA in the States. And what they're actually calling it, and by the way, I'm happy to share the report if anybody is interested in receiving it, is they would have started out 2 years ago with what they called CAS 1.0. And CAS 1.0 was very, very much in around looking at, the descriptive analytics, which is something that traditionally we've all been doing. It's actually going through the bookkeeping and, the compliance and keeping everything in order. But what they actually started looking towards in 1.0 is actually a diagnostic. So it's actually saying, why did it happen? Drilling down a little bit further and actually trying to get the causality of the issues that are arising in clients' businesses. And then they actually moved last year to what they call 2.0, which is trying to, use predictive analytics to actually understand what will happen going forward, or indeed to allow accountants or encourage accountants to use technology in their business planning and forecasting. So the next level, which is 3.0, has not actually been released yet, and there's a very good reason for it. And because the 3.0 is really looking at prescriptive analytics, and this is going deeper into why did it happen. It's saying, okay, we can understand, kind of what happened. So you're looking at a client's data and say, for example, the revenue has dropped this month. And typically what we would have been looking at as accountants is trending and analyzing and saying, oh, here's your graph, here's the trends. This particular thing has happened within your business in the past. But now what it's been driven towards is actually looking real time and saying, oh, you're not going to hit your targets. You've built out your predictive analytics, your planning, your cash flow, your balance sheet. You've wrapped your KPIs around those, and you know what? You're not actually hitting those targets. So it's actually then taking it to the next level, which is why. And it's looking at all the variables that go in around why revenue mightn't be what you think it might be. And it's going outside of the pure financial metrics. So, you could be looking at, your pricing. You could be looking at discounts that your salespeople are giving. You could be looking at, your sales funnel metrics. You might be looking at, oh, have we got enough headcount there to actually deliver the sales? Or do we have enough customer support people to prevent, customers from churning? So it's actually looking at all of those different variables from within each business. And by the way, that's really using kind of AI in my opinion, to one of its best in the accountancy sector. But this particular area is a little bit challenging to some accountants who are a bit nervous of AI because they're afraid it's going to take their jobs, right? But in reality, what it is actually primed to do and what it should do is actually support advisors in actually moving, if you like, from the bottom part of the screen up to the top part, where there's a much more lucrative revenue stream to be had, and it's in demand. And quite frankly, if we don't look at it and really brace ourselves we're actually going to get left behind in the market. This is happening whether we kind of like it or not. And so what I've brought, I guess, for consideration is things to consider. That if you are considering bringing CAS into your organization, or indeed you already are, but you actually just, you might just want to review what you're doing and how you're doing it. I mean, clearly the very first thing is, are your clients asking for it, or your bosses, indeed, if you're working in-house for a company? And if they are looking for it, what exactly are they looking for? And the same thing, with your clients. If they're asking for it, are they willing to pay for it? And, or can you bring efficiencies into your organization that you actually don't really need to charge an awful lot more, but you've actually got efficiencies within your own firm that allows you to actually add that in and bring a stickiness, by the way, with it that wouldn't otherwise be possible or be difficult to achieve. And then we're looking at your in-house resources. So, do you have the resources in-house? Do you have the skills? I don't doubt you have. You're all CIMA qualified. I don't doubt you have the skills. But do you have, I guess, the bandwidth? Do you have the industry expertise? Do you have the support And are you comfortable with technology and AI? Because that's really, I guess, the linchpin of actually really making this work. And then really the third question should probably really be the first. Are you willing to make the changes that are necessary in your organization? And excuse me, I've suggested a few. So cloud-based accounting, I would reckon most of us have actually moved to the cloud with our accounting now. And by the way, having moved to the cloud allows so many other functionalities to be added to most softwares that are out there that make our jobs an awful lot easier in terms of getting access to insights, better reports, and actually a process improvement. But I think you need to have the cloud-based accounting in order to be able to do that really well. And that's what the next point I'm saying about process automation technology. So, I know it's a few years since I ran my own accountancy practice, but I know that the bookkeeping processes where we put 80%, if not more, of our time into getting that right and getting the data correct and the month ends before we could actually bring in the value adds. But there's actually an awful lot of technology out there now that actually will do all or most of that for you. So it's just to have an awareness of what's available and how can you bring those efficiencies into your own practice. And then of course the analytics, which is the part that's actually the closest to my heart, is the analytics and business insights, which will only work if you've got the other pieces ticking along and you've got the efficiencies in there. So if you haven't got the proper reconciliations and month ends, or even if you've got a rolling close going on and you've got rolling reconciliations, at least you know that the data you're analyzing and giving insights and advice on, at least you know that they are correct. Nothing worse than giving advice on incorrect data. So that's obviously top of all our lists. So I've actually brought some samples of automation technology with me, and some of them you'll be all very familiar with, some maybe not so. So a number of these, for example, Bill.com, is fantastic for particular industries, particularly software as a service type businesses, that actually need or are taking revenue from different sources like Stripe and so on. And they actually pull everything into one place. QuickBooks Online, that's a very popular one, obviously out in the States. I know Sage is an awful lot bigger here. And then we have other ones like BotKeeper. So when we look at bookkeeping automation, they're actually quite big out in the US. We're taking a look at they automate a lot of the bookkeeping services, and indeed an awful lot of firms actually in the UK actually and in the US have actually embraced outsourcing or offshoring of the bookkeeping processes, which is certainly worth considering. There's a lot of Irish companies doing, a lot of the big Irish companies are doing it, and it's certainly worth considering. And of course, SOBI is in there, and I'll tell you a little bit more about SOBI in a moment. Before I go any further, are there any questions on what I've already covered? Mary, do you have any questions, or does any of the audience?
Just you mentioned there being comfortable with AI. Like many accountants, we trained as accountants, we're not tech people as such, but how much technology or what do you need to actually guide and work with these tools, or how user friendly are a lot of them?
Okay. Great question, because technology is here to stay, and we need to figure out a way of embracing it. So I mean, my way is always, one step at a time, right? And so, when I kind of mentioned backwards here, things to consider, I suppose the cloud-based accounting is, I would suggest, is one of the easiest first steps to take. Okay. And what that basically is, if I'm using words that people don't understand or whatever, just put your hand up. But you kind of have in-premise accounts and you've got cloud-based. So the cloud-based ones are typically the ones that you can share over the net. Okay, the ones that are in premise are ones, it's like the old Sage 50, that you couldn't go online. Sage 1 you could go online with. Sage 50, it was just on your own server, just on your own account, on your own computer. That's not going to bring you very far. That's not it's great that it's automating some of your accounting, and it's helping, but it's not so much automating, but it's allowing you to do it in one place rather than on spreadsheets, right? So it's an improvement. But the cloud-based accounting is far, it goes far further. So if you're cloud-based, for example, you can do your bank reconciliations online. You can actually link in. So if you've got something like Sage 1, or you've got QuickBooks online, or you've got Xero. Xero is obviously now very popular here too. And you set those up, so you're doing all your accounts and everything online. The benefits it brings are that it can be shared with other users. As I said, you can do you can connect directly up to your bank account. You can do bank reconciliations, but you can also add in other apps. So there's other things, I mean, like SOBI, right? So we're cloud-based. And so we can, for anybody who's using Xero accounts or QuickBooks, it only takes like 20 minutes to connect into something like SOBI to get immediate access to insights and KPIs and so on. Right. If you want better reporting than what you're getting out of Xero, you've got Fathom reports, or you've got Reach reporting. There's a whole load of other apps that you can connect up to. So I would say the very first step is embracing your cloud accounting, which I would think most people have at this stage. Well, that is your very first step, and it's the easiest step. Then once you've got that, you're looking and saying, okay, what else do I need to do? How do I bring additional value? And you're taking the next step, and you're doing your research, and you're kind of saying, okay. And it does mean setting up and doing free trials on different software and seeing which one kind of fits the best.
So you're doing the work is the same, but it's ways of making efficiencies within it. So you're still doing your bank recs, but there's easier ways of doing it. You don't have to manually do processing or manually enter invoices. There's automated systems for that, your process automation technology. And very simple tools, I suppose, is what you're saying to do. You're still doing your job, but there's lots more efficient ways of doing them.
A lot more efficiently. Yeah, it's a lot more efficiently. Yeah. And then, of course, what I'm suggesting then, Mary, is you're taking a couple of steps beyond the efficiency to actually bring in the expertise level.
Yeah, so you're using your time more wisely at the other side then with the insights. Very good.
That's it. That's it exactly. Yeah.
There's another question in here. Just let you know, the Sage 50 is now cloud-based. Yeah, that's exactly what you just said. Yeah, so that's cloud-based now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I said Sage 1. Yeah, because
Sage
back when I
50
was doing it, yeah, but Cloud 50. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess the next polling question: what technology does your firm use?
Sure. Okay, one moment and I'll get this up for you now. Thank you. Few answers are coming in now, Brenda, so I'll share those now with you in a moment when I end it. Give folk another few seconds.
I can't actually see those responses. Let me see if I can.
When I end the poll, though, you should be able to see it. Just shout
it.
Yeah. I'll read them out if you can't, but I think you should be able to. Okay, I'll end this now, and if you can let me know if you can see them. Ooh. Oh dear. Don't know what's going on there. Sorry. One moment, please. Oh. Apologies. It's saying it's sharing them, but I can't see them. I'm sorry.
Okay.
One moment till I try and.
Actually, while you're doing that, somebody
Yeah,
has asked.
apologies.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no, no problem. No, go work away.
fine.
One of the attendees has asked a question about the most suitable cloud accounting system for Irish SMEs, and they're saying that some systems didn't previously handle Irish VAT properly. My understanding is that Zero Accounts has actually made serious inroads into that and is now actually handling both the VAT and the bank integrations correctly now. They weren't up to I don't know, a number of months ago, but my understanding is that they have adapted their software. And if that is the case, Zero is definitely a good one. So I hope that helps. We're taking a look at. Alternatively, Sage One, which I'm not a big lover of, but if Zero still haven't got their act together on the VAT, I'd say go to Sage One.
I'm really sorry, Brenda. The whole doesn't seem to be allowing me to share it on screen.
Okay, but don't worry about it. But you have the answers there.
I have to go out. It's gone back into my actual Zoom account. So bear with me, and I'll do my best.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
Get it as soon as
I
possible,
can move.
thanks.
I can move on, and you can just give me some of the results. And if there's any other questions,
Sure,
let me have them.
I'll just pop in there on the VAT question as well. I came across that recently with a company, I think it was QuickBooks they were using, and they were set up originally on an English version of QuickBooks. Don't ask me how that happened or why they were set up that way. And they had a lot of issues with their VAT. So just to have a look, because a lot of when you're setting up originally, somebody could have just set up the system, not realizing even the jurisdiction or the consequences of the differences of the VAT. But I do find Sage 50 a wonderful system and never had an issue with VAT on it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest issue I've had with Sage 50 as a tech company is it's very, very hard to integrate with. So I would have used 50 for my 20 years in my accountancy practice, but it was on premise. It was, on our own servers. But I know last year, excuse me, we were trying to integrate with it. And it's very difficult to integrate. So therefore, you've actually got a situation where there's a lot of technology companies that could bring additional value to it, but can't because it's an old system. There's a lot of old technology in it, and it can't handle additional integrations. And so that would have been my main issue, because otherwise I would have been Sage 50 all the way. I loved it. But that's just something to be aware of. So it depends kind of what it really depends what you're looking for. Sage 50 was great, kind of the reporting and so on was brilliant. I wasn't a big lover of Sage 1 when it came out, but I know it's improved. And the thing about Sage 1 is you can actually do the integrations because it is cloud-based. It's genuinely cloud-based. So
I
just
think
something.
Sage 50 is more remote or offline. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you will struggle if you kind of want to do some of the things that we're suggesting here with automation and so on. You'll struggle with those with Sage. Okay, so we move on, if that's okay. Excuse me.
Or Brenda, do you want me to just call out a few of those that I've have been able to access?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry if I can count again. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Talk about. Okay. So Sage 50, Zero QuickBooks Thrive, Zero Oracle Automation Anywhere, Zero BriPay Payroll and Fathom, Oracle 13, Sage again, Zero Exchequer Opera, 3E, One Click Accounts, MS Project, and PeopleSoft and Workday. And obviously there's a SAP as well.
Okay, so there's a huge variation there of those. Okay, now from my understanding of most of those that you just mentioned, they're all cloud-based. So once they're kind of cloud-based, or I assume they are, I think that most of them are. And once they're cloud-based, you can actually build the additional integrations and so on into them. sorry, Mark there is asking, does Sage Accounts Production have a cloud-based option? I'm not 100% certain here, Mark. Sorry, I can't answer that. Yeah, I wouldn't, I don't know, I'm afraid. So I think you'd have to do a little bit of research on that one. I don't know the answer. Sorry about that. I can check it out and come back to you. But yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so let's take another look then. So what I'm actually wanted just to go through here is to give an example of the I guess the type of insights or the types of metrics that we are actually pulling from account systems, and the types of, from both accounts, payroll and CRM systems. We're pulling a glug, if you like, of information, and what we're doing with them. And this is just to give you just, I suppose, an overview, or to start, you know, maybe give you some ideas of where we're going, and indeed where the market demand is going. So what we've basically have within SOBI is we've got financial insights, which typically are going to be your financial performance. We have budget reporting, which is predictive analytics, and it's actually it's all of this is all automated. So the financial performance, some of what you've got into the financial performance, you're going to get already out of your account system. Okay, so it's things like your P&L, your balance sheets, your trending, your comparisons, cash flows, and so on. But what we actually use that information for is to apply machine learning to it, so we can actually project out and see, based on certain trends, what the future is likely to look like for the company. So it's scenario building, really, for the client, for the companies. And so really what kind of flows out of that then is the KPIs for right across the business. So we measure everything from, you know, your customer metrics, from customer acquisition cost, churn, across your variable and fixed costs, and you're looking at the trending and analysis and targets across the whole lot. And then we kind of jump through that and say, okay, we've gotten everything we can get out of the financial area. We've got some products, insights, customer insights, trending, and so on. And what we're really using with that information is, as I mentioned already, you're applying targets against those metrics to enable you to help your client to meet the business plan, if you like, for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 36 months. We do it up to 36 months, right? And we give alerts on that in terms of when a business is performing properly against those metrics, or when they're lagging behind. So you've got the green and red, you know, kind of alerts going on. Then we go kind of a couple of stages further, and we say, okay, you've got the alerts in terms of what's working and what's not working. What do you do in response to those alerts? And that's where, you know, we look at the sales and marketing, we bring those in, and we bring in, you know, benchmarking, headcount metrics, because all of a sudden then you can look and say, okay, for example, on the sales funnel metrics, we can look and see where the sales, what marketing activities generated what level of sales in a particular period. And then you can actually go and build your own KPI and actually say, okay, that's what we got in. Now, what did it cost us to actually activate a particular action? And you can get a return then on investment on those, on each marketing activity, and you can trend them and decide, okay, this is actually where we spend our money. So that's kind of one example. There you're kind of getting, you're coming then into the AI piece, and this is where AI kind of really starts kicking in. And it's to actually, if you like, build up. This is what we're doing at the moment. So we've got a lot of this. We've got all of this in SOBI at the moment, where you can take all of those insights, you can build your own KPIs, you can build your own customized reports, and you can add your own advisory piece to it, right? But where this is going is that AI will enable the advisory piece to be prompted or to be put into the report as well. I mean, that's where we're going. So it's actually understanding where I guess the accountant's role is going to fit in all of this. So you've got you know, you've got your accounts automated because, okay, you know, it's a cheaper way and a quicker way. There's quicker ways and faster ways of doing things. And by the way, your customers are clued into this stuff. And they if they kind of, you know, feel that there's efficiencies that aren't being followed and they're being charged for it, there's going to be kickback. Okay, I've seen it. And so you've got that kickback, but then you've also got the opportunity of looking and saying, we can actually help these clients to make better decisions. We can help them to actually survive longer, to maybe move the dial on the number of SMEs that fail every year. And sorry, Mary, do you want to jump in and say something there?
Yeah, I'm just so like when you're looking at I suppose the integration with, you know, any system or whatever, it's the people, the process, and the technology kind of coming together. So I suppose there's lots of different technologies to do that and to get those KPIs, and it's really, I suppose, relevant for the specifics of different companies and the different areas as well. It's not just finance. There's you mentioned PeopleSoft there and other systems that people are using, HubSpot for customers. So like there's KPIs, whether it's customers, employees, operational, financial. So it's 4 different elements. And when it comes to AI or software, there's so many, I suppose, options out there, and it's really where would be a good starting point for somebody, say, that may not have even thought about this before. Like, where would they go to kind of, what would be a good starting point or grounding for them? Yeah.
Okay. I guess, you know, the first place to start is, you know, if you're not already doing this stuff on an Excel spreadsheet, it might be a good, even though I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm trying to get everybody away from Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
But I guess it's probably not a bad place to start, because really what we're talking about here is, and you're saying about KPIs and whatever. The thing about KPIs is it's the key ones, and I'm just re-emphasizing that. And I know we all know that, but it's the key ones for each of our clients. So you can have any number of KPIs, you could have hundreds, thousands, but what's the point? What you want are the ones that are pertinent to your clients right now at this stage that they're at. And that could be something like cash run rate. It could be churn. It could be, you know, customer acquisition costs. It could be headcount, you know. It could be, you know, production percentages, or be pricing. It could be anything, right? And that's where, you know, I firmly believe the skill sets of the accountant, and certainly with the particular CMA accountants, gives us an edge, because we understand KPIs, we understand the measurement, we understand how to do it. Trust me, accountants from other disciplines don't have the same training or the same background that we do. We actually have an advantage in this market. Trust me, we do. Okay. So in terms of you saying, where do you start? I would say if somebody's not already kind of doing this, start off with a spreadsheet. Start tracking and trending your clients, start doing it, working out your metrics. All of the metrics are available online. You can go in if you want to figure out how to work out CAC or customer lifetime value or whatever you think, and actually go and figure it out. Okay. And once you've kind of figured out yourself what the client needs, you know, then it is a good time to actually start embracing technology. Okay. And just to kind of give you, there are lots of technology. Obviously I'm here and I'm telling you a bit about SOBI, but there are other technologies out there that do more or less of what we do. But typically what they will do is they'll integrate with your cloud-based system. So if you have, that's why I'm pushing the cloud-based system, whatever it happens to be. Okay. And what it'll do, it'll integrate and actually pull in your general ledger data at transactional level. Now, whatever you're looking at, make sure it's transactional level that it's pulling in, because you want to be able to get the drill downs and actually verify for yourself the results that you're going to see through that analytics engine. Okay. So it's pulling all of that information from right across your GL, and it's analyzing it under different headings. And really what you're asking the system to do is do the metrics for you. If you're classifying, you know, if you've got different classes or different departments within that data, you want your software technology or an analytics technology to be able to give you the analysis by class, to give you your cash flow by class, to give you your projections, your business projections by class or by department. Okay. And to me, that's a very simple place to start, because that's what we all need. And then really it's looking at a handful of KPIs, not all systems, but several other systems apart from SOBI. What we do is we actually give, if you like, pre-baked or baked in KPIs from all across these systems, these areas within the business that I'm showing you. If you don't need all of them, don't use all of them. If you only need financial and customers and budget, that's all you need to use. Don't take on more than you need right now, because you can always build on. So start simple.
Yeah. And a lot of those add-ons they're seamless as well. You don't even know they're there once they're set up. It's easy to I suppose onboard, and then it's easy to work with them thereafter. It's just like another arm of the system that you currently have.
Correct.
And from, I suppose, a cost benefit analysis, then, like what you think of technology and systems, you think of high costs, but I think the world has changed, and with the software subscriptions and things like that, the monthly cost can be small. So what's the cost benefit? I suppose the time you're saving versus what you're paying out.
Okay, well, I mean, the feedback that we've gotten, and I can only really, I suppose, talk to ourselves really, and the feedback that we've gotten from accountancy firms using this in the States in particular, and in the UK in particular, is that they that they're saving roughly 4 hours per client per month by using SOBI. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to get that same from other softwares, but that is the savings. So if you look at what you would normally be charging out just for that, and by the way, we're not doing the bookkeeping
That's an accountancy practice you're speaking about, Brenda, is it? Yeah.
Accountants. Yeah. So typically who we deal with are like independent accountants who have maybe between 5 and 20 clients. We also have businesses. We also have accountants that are in-house in businesses, and kind of mid-sized businesses in the States as well. And so what they would typically be doing is trying to do this crunching of numbers for their board, for their investors, and so on and so forth. So it doesn't matter who the stakeholders are. It's pretty much the same kind of information that they want to trend and they want to see. There's not much difference between it. But it's actually just starting simply.
Yeah.
And so normally when somebody kind of sets up on SOBI, I would say to them, just stick with the financials and the budgets to start out with. Because it's all automated. You don't need to think about it. And then when you've moved past that, what else do you need? But start simply.
Yeah, and there's no particular courses, is there, that you can do for as a starting point or to kind of direction or anything like that at the moment? There's none that I can think of.
No, there aren't. I know that the CPA are looking at offering, and actually, by the way, they're bringing it into their syllabus for CPA, which is sort of a new movement. I don't think they are in CMA, but they are doing it in CPA. Typically what you will find is that people like SOBI and other software houses have support and have training because we recognize it's a new area. And so I know that we give very, very strong customer support, and we make sure that especially for the first couple of clients, that the solution has been tailored to suit each individual client, because that's actually really important.
Yeah. And just as a question here, do some cloud-based accounting systems capture the quantitative as well as the qualitative or the normal financial data?
There are some that will do an element of that, okay? But most of those systems will focus only on financial data. You won't have the non-financial elements going in there, okay? And so the non-financial elements are what really they're really of value when you're looking at CAS, when you're saying, okay, I'm moving from if you like the performance or the financial insights and planning and so on. I'm moving from that to CAS. It's actually getting from right across the company.
Yeah. Okay. And if there's kind of key takeaways from today, or from from this whole CAS environment and advisory services, I suppose, new role or function, what would be the kind of key takeaways you'd want people to get from today's session?
Okay, I suppose quite simply, there's an opportunity there. And as I said earlier, I think it's particularly relevant to CMA accountants, and it's not just because that's my background, but I see it. Okay, there's an opportunity there, and that opportunity, we either look at it and look at it as being a threat. So AI and technology, we either see it as being a threat, or we embrace it as an opportunity. I think we should be embracing it as an opportunity, obviously. And I think our clients will thank us for it, because they need this, but they mightn't necessarily know what to ask for. But if we can help them survive longer and make better decisions, I think it's our responsibility to do it, quite frankly.
Yeah. And I suppose the broad knowledge, you know, before you got the figures as a financial controller or an accountant in the company, and it was just the numbers you were dealing with, like you said, originally, historically, looking back at what was happening. But now, I suppose the roles are very interactive, and it's operational, literally from the ground right up to you're dealing with the board. So it's how it all pulls together, and then what systems will work and what AI you can implement at different various stages of the organization for lots of different levels. And it's little tweaks throughout, right up to this level of business insights that we have here in front of us. Just to be aware of that and thinking of it, isn't it? And just like, where can we add those systems that will automate and take the day-to-day manual, I suppose, human error away, and then give us more and more of our time back to work more on the future of the business.
And if I could add one other thing there, I would say, I mean, I'm using the word AI, and it's a buzzword. Everybody's going on about AI, but I would say don't be afraid of that, or the idea of kind of embracing AI, because really what you're just doing is go find a system that does what you want and what you need. Doesn't matter whether it says it's AI or not. It's to actually it's actually to give you what you need to do to I guess deliver those services. If you're not already, I'd say everybody is doing it to some extent. But it's so just look at the technology, and don't, I suppose, be overwhelmed by the fact that it's AI. Start slowly.
And just look at the list you have there on the left hand side. There's so many areas within a business, and this is a portion of it, but there's so many areas to look at and to find those business insights for. And, you know, how can we, I suppose, run our business with access to as much information and to analyze all of the areas? So where can we make all the improvements? And it's just such a vast thing, isn't it? You know,
but you don't. And I'm always afraid that when, you know, and I kind of show the list of what we're doing, that people can get overwhelmed. Okay. And you can, right? But I guess I'm going back to what I said earlier, is to start off slowly. So you're saying, what are the key things that we actually help our clients with, certainly on a regular basis? It's on cash flow decisions. So you want to know what their cash flow projections look like. You want to know what their cash burn rate is. If they're running out of cash and they're not going to meet, you know, this month's payroll, you've got an issue. You got to come up with some creative thinking. And by the way, that's something that maybe AI can point to certain things, but there'll always be an expertise that comes from accountants that AI can't. Well, maybe you know, a couple of years down the line, but I think we still have a place. We still have an expertise to kind of bring to decision making. So I as I said earlier, you know, it's starting with the simple things. It's building out a very simple, letting the machine, letting AI build out the projections for you. You don't need to do an awful lot more, but you can go in and change it then to suit yourself and suit your client, even to start with that. And to give advice on that. That's a really good place to start. And you'll start seeing then, even within that, you'll see the areas that you need to advise your client that they need to improve performance in you know, very simply. So you don't need to do, this is everything that we've got in there. How many people do we have using all of that? As a handful, maybe 5-6% use the whole lot. But we've got you know, 80-90% would have started off with financial insights and the budget and cash flow planning. and then moved on to one or two other areas.
Yeah.
So as it's not to be overwhelmed, you don't need to do everything. So it's actually just a start, and then you will get, trust me, you and your clients will get hungry for more, and you can add on as you develop and grow.
Very good. You mentioned there the US earlier. Are we ahead or behind the US? Where are we on the whole client advisory services and automation?
I think in terms of our recognition of CAS, we're behind. Okay. But in terms of our adoption of the technology and moving our way up kind of through the ranks, that's only really starting to grow legs now in the States. I mean, there's been a reticence there even to make those changes. Their reticence is more down to the fact a lot of them don't have the skill sets. Okay. Whereas I'm looking at ACMA and saying, you guys have the skill sets, you know? And so most of them in the States, if you look at accountants, they're nearly all CPAs. Okay. And so we're ahead in terms of understanding this stuff, but we're behind in terms of adoption.
Okay. Very good. That's all the questions for now. If you want to continue the presentation.
Okay. Well, I suppose do I have anything else here? I just have, and actually, if anybody wants a sample of what these the bespoke reports look like, drop me an email. Be delighted to send you. And what I'm just kind of showing here is the types of insights and the types of information that we should be reaching for beyond just the financial reports. So we've got kind of targets in there. We've got industry benchmarking, customer performance. So it's actually taking us past just the P&L balance sheet, which would be traditionally what, as accountants, we would focus on. Okay. So we have one more polling question.
Okay, just one moment, thank you. And I'll launch that. Hopefully I won't have as much issues with this one. Apologies for the last one. No. Okay, it's started for you now there, Brenda.
Okay.
Do you want to talk out maybe the difference between those four, Brenda?
Sure. So obviously you've got AI in all the different areas. So the technology automation, what I am referring to there is automation of day-to-day, if you like, bookkeeping practices and so on. And it's actually, so technology, that's the process. Sorry, you get mixed up between them. Your process automation is actually looking at the processes, your day-to-day processes in your accountancy firm, and saying, how could we improve the processes? And then the technology automation is really in around adopting the correct technology that works without those processes, that can actually bring efficiencies to them. And then the analytics insight is pretty much what I've just shared. AI chat assistants. Okay, so this is referring to what, and I'd go, this is kind of what's available now, is actually being able to go into your system and ask questions, support questions. But where we're going with this, we're going a couple of steps further. So chat assistants, we actually are going, and it's not actually available in the market right now. And it's basically being able to ask questions of your own data. But right now, you can ask questions in terms of what's my turnover to date, what's my, how many customers have I got, and so on. So there are different technologies out there that do that. And most of those are built into your account systems already. And it's just understanding which people use or which they intend to use.
Okay, I will end that there so you see the final results. There is.
There we go.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So people are interested in the process automation in particular and analytics insights. That's cool. That's great to know. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so we're coming to the end of it. So what I've basically done up here is I've shared links. There's a couple of different white papers that I've written on CAS that have been shared out, Embracing the Future with CAS, and then Growth Opportunities, and I've given the links there. I also mentioned earlier on the CPA report on 1.0 and 2.0 CAS. Happy to share that, or indeed if anybody wants to get access to the sample of those the bespoke reports. I'm going to give you my email now. And then, of course, I'm going to offer discount to any ACMA members who want to jump on and give SOBI a try. Let's have a look and see if we can get you up there and testing it and giving it a spin. And then, as I said, finally, then I would like to say thank you and see if there's any questions. But there's my email address, brenda@sobianalytics.com, and I welcome any queries or any requests. Okay, thank you. Mary, do you have anything?
Yeah. So Brenda, you mentioned that with SOBI, you are going to step further. You're going a step further than the 4 options you had in the poll. Can you expand on that?
Okay. So what I showed on what we've done so far, and we built SOBI very deliberately that we could actually get the KPIs and get the analysis and so on from right across the business. Well, what we're actually building at the moment, we'll have already. I know that Jean referred to it there earlier on. What we will be releasing in early 2025 is prescriptive analytics, and that really is, I kind of refer to it throughout the talk, whereas I've been saying it's sort of a case of if this, then what, and it's actually an advisory piece, or it's an expert piece that can be added on, and
like a what if scenario type. Yeah.
Well, it's actually going further. It's actually advisory. So to be saying, okay, you know what, taking everything into account, you've got a flag there that your revenue is not hitting the targets, and it's saying, okay, and it's going through all the different areas and saying, this is why. It's because, you know, your sales discounts are higher than what they should be. That's where you need to go and you need to address. So that is actually the next stage. And I said it's kind of it's kind of groundbreaking in that it's not been done in the financial space yet, but that's where we're going.
Very good.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah. There's no other questions there, but from my own experience, I do feel like there's some very, very basic automated process, you know, that you can add in, whether it's automated invoices or just different technologies on a day-to-day, and it's worth kind of asking questions, looking around, and just to see, and even the ChatGPT and things like that, you know, just to be using them, but really from a day-to-day like integration, I think is the main one, trying to integrate everything from operations right through to the board, and what do the board want, and what can we change down here that will give you that, and then how can we automate and process all the way along, and there's lots and lots of options. So
there is,
I think your system is fantastic, and it's just,
thank you,
there's so many others as well, you know, so
there is, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And this is not about kind of, I'm just showing you what SOBI can do, but
but that's the equivalent. Other systems can do the equivalent, and it's to be aware of what's out there, and not to just think, I have my set of accounts now, that's it, you know, but I can actually upload those into something else, even if it's not an add-on to the system you have. There's other ways you can upload and download Excel into something else, and that will work as well. So it's just being aware of it and looking for the options. So they're just saying thank you and look forward to getting the slides. Cool. So thanks very much, Brenda. They're very good.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me along, Mary. I do appreciate it.
Not at all. Thank you for your time.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much, Brenda. On behalf of CMA Ireland, obviously, I want to reiterate what Mary has said. We really appreciate your participation and your time, and you also, Mary, for your participation and contribution today. It was great. Before we sign off today, I'd like to make you aware, if I can just make that big. One moment, please. Lovely. Okay, to bring your attention to our upcoming CBT webinar, scheduled for Thursday the 19th of September, where the Head of Sustainability with Danske Bank Belfast will present on Banking on Climate, how businesses can navigate net zero. So the QR code there is for you to scan, for you to register, and also I'll send the link in the follow-up email. And we hope you can join us then. So thank you all for attending. We hope you find it beneficial, and I'll send the follow-up email shortly with the recording and the presentation, which includes Brenda's contact details and her links to her white papers, as she said. And obviously you can get in touch directly with Brenda if needs be. So apologies for the technical issues with the poll earlier. Apologies for that. It happens, I'm afraid. I'll learn from it, as they say. But so thanks everybody. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.